So it's just say take a dolphin who might be almost as conscious as us and highly intelligent, maybe
Mm,
as intelligent, but it lacks the ability to communicate not just with others but almost itself in a way. And what I mean
mm,
by that is that we think in language. Not everyone
yeah.
does, by the way, but I do, and
Mm,
most people do. Is your thoughts occur in language, and so maybe language maybe language is kind of behind it all. It's the
mm,
that old saying people won't say anymore, but like um, behind every great man is a woman.
mm,
Maybe it's actually behind like consciousness is language, and we kind of
mm,
forget to give it credit. But maybe like our true exceptionality is our language, because it not only allows us to communicate with others, but also ourselves. And through language, we construct this complex, rich inner world that when we look at the beauty of the human mind, maybe that is what we're looking at, not our intelligence or our consciousness, even though that plays a part, but it's that richness invoked by language that allows us to ponder and talk about abstract things that don't even exist in physical reality. That's
and
something we haven't seen another animal do.
yeah. Also, on a more practical level, I think it's a good point to say that language has allowed us to sort of record ourselves and pass on information. It's allowed culture to sort of extend beyond the lives of the people who might have sort of invented it, even though, it's not that one person invents a culture, but it allows it sort of creates the connective tissue which from which like the lineage of information that gets passed across generations
Mm.
rides on, um and that's invaluable. I mean, what the hell
Oh,
would
wait,
we
and you,
be if we didn't grow up with going to school and reading books? And I mean, that's where, like, I would say 90% of our sort of cognitive abilities come from is learned knowledge that's been passed down through us to us through language.
mm. Yeah, and
Um,
that
so it's a
also
huge
brings up another
advantage.
interesting theory of consciousness. Is that sorry, I think the reception's a bit. I was just
Mm,
going to say, but that brings up another interesting theory of consciousness. Is that consciousness arises when you have a lot of highly complex, sophisticated, but choreographed uh, sharing of information. It's like an information system. Now, by this definition, it mean that AI could also become conscious, but I don't want to talk about that now.
mm,
But what that brings up is that so our brain becomes conscious because our neurons are very densely packed, I believe more densely packed than any other animal, and can fire messages, and these are just little simple messages, just on or off between each other, billions of times a second to in a choreographed, complex way to simulate consciousness. Now, what the beauty of language does is it expands our consciousness from beyond us because now information exchange doesn't just occur within our brains, it occurs between brains and between groups
mm,
of brains and between groups of brains. And so now it's like, Jung's concept of, the collective consciousness is that if you believe that consciousness arises when you have a highly orchestrated, choreographed, complex exchange of information happening within a set system, then that should apply to the human population as in large, because we ourselves are exchanging information in a similar complex manner.